And this is Monica here. I'm going to review a book today, My Age of Anxiety by Scott Stossel. Has My Age of Anxiety by Scott Stossel been sitting on your reading list? If not, then you must pick it up. Many people experience normal anxiety every now and then, like getting nervous about a significant event or presenting in front of audience. Some of us also feel more severe anxieties like worrying a lot or having phobia. However, these things don't generally prevent us from having a normal life. In extreme cases, it is considered to be a clinical anxiety. Those who suffer from the clinical anxiety are afraid of things that aren't intrinsically dangerous, like public speaking, and have a severe reaction to them, such as vomiting or fainting. In this summary of My Age of Anxiety by Scott, you will find out some theories about causes of anxiety, how daily actions can become almost impossible for the clinically anxious person, how anxiety got author into few awkward situations like flooding the Kennedy family's bathroom. My Age of Anxiety key point. The age of anxiety is your guide to understanding an aspect of a mental illness that most of us don't realize is so severe, showing its biological and environmental origins and ways to treat it. The author's favorite quote is, "It is a fact. I say this from experience that being severely anxious is depressing. Anxiety can impede your relationship, impair your performance, constrict your life, and limit your possibilities." What are you afraid of or worried about right now? As I write this in March, many people are scared about the new coronavirus going around. While most people do worry about it, every person is having a panic attacks. We have all got regular fears. Public speaking, important events, and all sort of things can give us a mild to moderate anxiety. Some fear gets bad, but nothing is as bad as those clinical anxiety. These are the people who have some of those same fears as the rest of us. The difference for them is that they are more afraid of the things that aren't inherently fatal and experience severe reactions to them, like fainting and throwing up. The cause and treatment for this type of anxiety are what you will learn about in Scott's My Age of Anxiety. And it isn't just your average advice. This is something the author has dealt with himself. Here are 3 most helpful lessons I have discovered. This disease can make life difficult and embarrassing. Anxiety comes from evolution, but is also a result of our experiences in childhood. To treat this form of mental illness, you can use drugs and therapy. I hope you are not too anxious to dive into this book because it's going to make your life better. Here we go then. Lesson 1. Life is hard and embarrassing for those that struggle with this disease. Some people with a clinical anxiety compare the constant battle to having diabetes. They must constantly deal with the difficult afflictions on a daily basis. It takes vigilance to watch out for the situations that could make them stressed and need to seek relief with drugs, which is draining. There are many limitations associated with this illness as well. I have a family member that have had a hard time being in public places in the past. Some prefer to just be home where they know they are in control and safe. One man had it so bad that he couldn't go outside of a 5-kilometer radius around his house. If he had, he would vomit. Even the most simple things in life are hard for these individuals. The author himself finds it impossible to give a speech or board an aeroplane without taking a mixture of alcohol and meds. He also struggles with the over attachment to the loved ones, as many authors, as many others with this element do. As a child, he had a hard time being without his parents. If they ever left, he would think they were dead. Some aspects of the life are even embarrassing when you have a mental illness this bad. On one trip, author missed all the sights because he was visiting the sanitary facilities due to his anxieties. Lesson 2. How we grew up and our biology can both be responsible for anxiety. So, what causes this disorder anyway? It's rooted in our evolution actually, and a little fear and worry isn't actually such a bad thing. Remember the survival of the fittest theory? It states that the best adapted species will survive and others won't. Our ancient ancestors developed fears for the things that wouldn't help them live longer, like cliffs, snakes, for example. This helped them come out on the top and thrive. We all still have some of these fears today, and they make sense. You are afraid of spiders, snakes, still because it helps you to live longer. But the worries of those with clinical anxiety go much deeper and are far more irrational. The author, for example, has a fear of cheese. There is some there is even some evidence of this trait being passed down in genes. Stossel, for example, sees few of his anxiety in his daughter. Some of this may be from upbringing though. Research on the rhesus monkeys reveal how important the connection between the parent and child is. Young monkeys who were separated showed more anxiety, social ignorability, and aggression later in their life. Another study compared the effects of a mother's trait on her children. It identified that the moms who are more mindful and loving raise children who are less anxious. Lesson 3. Drugs and therapies are two of the best forms of the treatment for this mental illness. So now we know that life is like with it, and we have seen some ideas about where it comes from, but how do doctors treat anxiety? The current leaders for this are medications and therapy, and what's most effective just depends on the person. From MRI brain scans, we know that this mental illness is connected with the events in the brains. Some areas light up differently in the people with the clinical anxiety than in the normal people. Because of this, we know that we can treat it with the drugs. The brain of an anxious person often has a harder time producing a serotonin, a neurotransmitter that helps with the certain emotions. Medications can help fix this and calm the person down. This option isn't for everyone, though, as there are side effects and theories that these drugs are no better than placebos. That's why looking into the therapy as a form of treatment is a wonderful thing. Cognitive behavior therapy or CBT is one remedy that is quite common. In the most widely used form of the CBT, patients go through what's known as exposure therapy. The idea is that if a person faces what they are afraid of, they can get over their fears. This didn't work so well for the author though. When he tried to confront his fears of throwing up, he just ended up choking on the emetic used to induce vomiting. He also been through an imaginal exposure. This is where the therapist explores his feelings while he visualizes things that scare him. Although he is still going through a therapy, Stossel believes that these things are helping reduce his anxiety. So, my age of anxiety. At the beginning of my age of anxiety, I kept thinking that I didn't like that it was just about the causes and effects of worry. But then I realized that understanding this side of it can help us know how to beat it. I still prefer happier books, but this one is a good dive into the big problems and might help us to see ways to fix it. Who would I recommend this book to? 34-year-old mom who worries a lot wonders if she's a clinical anxiety. 57-year-old who has a friend that struggles with anxiety and wants to know how to help, and anyone who is interested in the psychology and improving the mental health. In end, I just want to state that clinical anxiety is a disease and it's a mental illness, and it should be taken seriously as any other illness and should you should not feel ashamed to seek the treatment from the doctors. There are many people who are suffering with this disease in today's world, today's modern world, the technology where everything is so fast. There are a lot of people who are going through this pain. So our sympathy and empathy towards them can help them to cope with this disease and can have a normal life. So this is my take on this book, My Age of Anxiety. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and search for this online and start reading it right now. Thank you for listening. Subscribe my channel. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.